you're new to self-assessment and you have no idea what's going on. Okay, let's go through all the basics today. So let's start with if you actually need to file a tax return on 31st of January 2025 or if you're going to file for next year. Anyone who's going to be filing on 31st of January 2025 will be filing because their taxable income that needs to be reported is from the period from 6th of April 2023 until 5th of April 2024. So you might be filing because you are now self-employed or you're a CIS contractor. There's lots of reasons why you need to file. Even if you're not filing for this year, please stay tuned because I have lots of hints, tips and dates that you'll need to know for next year. Let's pretend you are filing on 31st of January 2025. So points to note here, you will need to know that your payment of tax is due on 31st of Jan 2025, as well as your payment on account. You might have not been expecting your payment on account, so let me give you an example of how it all works. Say my tax bill is £3,000. I'm due to pay that on 31st of Jan 2025. It's 50% of the prior year tax bill, so I will have £1,500 that I will need to pay over as my first payment on account on the 31st of January 2025. I'm like paying tax in advance basically over to HMRC. Now on 31st of July 2025 I'll have another £1,500 to pay over to HMRC. On the 31st of January 2025 I might have a bill due of £4,500. You only pay payments on account when you have tax due in that year of over £1,000. So you may not even be in that bracket, which is great. But if you are, it's something that you need to be aware of. If you weren't aware of it, you haven't got the money, you can always do a payment plan with HMRC, so please don't panic. If you have an issue and you can't pay, you do need to tell them because otherwise you're going to get penalties and there'll be late interest and all sorts due, and it's just a big hassle that you don't need to get into. Then, next year, when you come to do your tax return, which will be due on the 31st of January 2026, you will have already paid over £3,000 to HMRC already in advance, which is wonderful. Say next year on 31st of January 2026, I have a tax bill of £5,000. I will subtract off my £3,000 that I've already paid over to HMRC and I'll be left with a balancing charge of £2,000. I know it can be really daunting filing for the first time. I do have lots of things on allowable expenses, disallowable expenses, lots of little hints and tips, so take a look at them. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them and I will happily answer.